longtime member of the casual wrestling community. This is his first take that has made it to the official big show here. My man B-Master with big takeaway from Raw. Dakota Kai is going to win the Intercontinental title for a couple of reasons. 1, she's over with the crowd. 2, she's easy on the eyes. And 3, she is a Samoan. Love the take, B-Master. I love the take. I love it because you got us talking about something other than the major 3 storylines. Feels like we hit those week after week. I like getting into the kind of the grit of pro wrestling and talking about deeper things. And I think that this take definitely is interesting because you hit on some key questions that a lot of wrestling podcasters don't want to talk about. There's a lot of pro wrestling content creators that don't want to talk about politics, and I mean politics of wrestling, and they don't want to talk about looks. And I'm not one to shy away from it, B-Master. I'm not one to shy away from the conversation. I think it's stupid how all these content creators are so afraid to speak on these topics, and they sometimes just absolutely act like these topics don't exist. But let's break down what you said. Let's break down the 3 parts of what you said. You say, number 1, she's going to win because she's Samoan. I'm not going to go with you on this one. I don't think that these wrestlers necessarily get pushed because they are Samoan or of a certain race. She has no real tie to the bloodline. So I don't see the value in using that as a metric to push her. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just don't believe that race will play a factor in Dakota Kai. I think there's a huge ignorant portion of the audience that has no clue she has any bit of Samoan in her at all. I think a lot of us see her as, this is ignorant too, but as Australian, even though I know she's like from New Zealand or something like that, but that's kind of what we see. So let's move past that part. I don't think that's what it is. The part that you bring up that's more interesting is she's easy on the eyes. Let's take the visceral reaction out of that, right? Because the white knights of TikTok are going to come and they're going to pretend like that doesn't exist. Like wrestling fans don't ever look at female and male wrestlers and go, oh, they're attractive, right? But these are the same IWC members who stand out over Liv Morgan on a weekly basis and just mask it by saying, look at how great she's improved in the ring. Like, dude, we're on to you. We understand what y'all are doing here, but let's be real for a second, right? Because what B-Master said is absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong about what he said. To a certain extent in professional wrestling, looks matter. It's why the men don't wear shirts. It's why the women wear certain outfits. It's the hardest thing for the IWC to wrap their heads around too, right? Here's reality, guys. Kenny Omega looks like Uncle Laser. He looks like he came from a trailer park. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds soaking wet. There's a reason why Roman Reigns at 6'3", 250 pounds looks like fucking Aquaman is more over than a Kenny Omega. There's a reason why Randy Orton at 6'5", built like a fucking Roman sculpture. There's a reason he's more over. It's asinine to pretend that looks don't matter in pro wrestling, especially when it comes to how you're booked. I won't argue with a straight face right now because sometimes I'd fuck around and say this, but I won't argue with a straight face right now that Roman Reigns, when it comes to the X's and O's of professional wrestling, is a better wrestler than someone like Kenny Omega. But that is omitting the entire package. And that is why the IWC is so confused why a guy like Will Ospreay can't get over. It's because there's just a look that goes with professional wrestling. And it's not always attractiveness. Some of it has to do with physicality. There's different looks that get over, but let's not lie to ourselves. Attractiveness is a huge benefit in professional wrestling. That's men and women. That is not just on the women's side. If you want to be a dog face, you should probably be in MMA because professional wrestling is more kin to a pageant than it is to a sporting event. Look, there's no difference in other sports, right? In professional basketball, height matters. You could pretend like it doesn't, but it matters. In pro football, hand size for quarterbacks is a big deal. Now, can you overcome these things? Sure. But it makes it a hell of a lot easier if you don't have to. So let's circle back. Let's talk about Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria, because I've gone on record saying Lyra Valkyria comes off as the weird girl. That's just how she comes off to me. Now, quite a few people have written me from behind the scenes saying that was an absolute spot on take, Nerdy D. There's people who've written me and said, I wish I could have said that out loud. There's people, but I'll say the things out loud that you guys don't want to say out loud. I'll say it so we can all laugh together. But the reality is that's the vibes I get from a Lyra Valkyria. But this take from B Master interests me outside of the looks situation, which, sure, that is a reason that Dakota Kai could get over. I'm going to assume at this point, B Master, you're assuming Becky Lynch is not returning before WrestleMania. Because having said everything I just said, I'm not ready to jump off of the Lyra Valkyria booking so fast. I have to admit, I think that I still think Lyra Valkyria is set up to succeed at least through WrestleMania. I still believe this is what's going on. I think the titles are fresh. The Intercontinental and Women's U.S. title are fresh, and they don't want both of those titles rolling into WrestleMania having had one defense each. They need those to have a little bit of seasoning on them so they at least feel like there's a little bit of value, especially if you're bringing back like a Becky Lynch. I don't think you want her going after a title that's been defended one time. So I think, unfortunately, that Dakota Kai is going to be a casualty of war here and that she's going to take the L against Lyra Valkyria. And I think, let's play fantasy booking for a little bit. Stick with me here, B Master. I think that maybe during this match, we get Dakota and Lyra battle it out. Hell of a match. It's going to be fun. Lyra narrowly pulls it out. Match ends. Boom. Becky's music hits. Becky comes out to the ring, sticks her hands out, congratulates Lyra Valkyria. They hug. They're still holding hands. As Lyra pulls away, Becky pulls her back in, hits her with a manhandle slam, picks up the women's IC title, holds it up and yells, "The man is back, baby." And that's how we get to Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria at WrestleMania. It's fantasy booking. Maybe it doesn't happen. I'm just not sure, B Master, right now, at this point in time, under 60 days to WrestleMania, that there is a benefit in pulling the title off of Lyra Valkyria and putting it on Dakota Kai if Becky Lynch is in the play for WrestleMania. If Becky Lynch is not coming back, sure, let these two go at it. They can have another match at WrestleMania if they need to. But I think if Becky Lynch is in the plans, I think just purely based on the history that Lyra Valkyria has with Becky Lynch, that's a built-in story that Dakota Kai, no matter the looks, no matter her culture, no matter how over she is with the crowd, I just think that is an insurmountable mountain for a justification to put the title on her going into WrestleMania. Unfortunately, though, that leads us to a take from the IWC.